welcome back to another video on Gearsaw Studios, and today I'm going to be showing you how to build yourself a gold mine. That way you have a nice decorative place in order to show off where you get gold from, and the answer being the Badlands. So without further ado, let's investigate how we do this. And of course, step 1, find a Badlands. This is where you find the most gold. It's everywhere in the Badlands, so pretty much disregard most other locations, but this tutorial can be used for just about any ore if you want. So if you're not specifically looking for gold, then it doesn't have to be in the Badlands. Either way, our buildings on the outside are going to be made out of various spruce blocks, logs, stripped logs, planks, building accents, dark oak and crimson along with dark oak logs. We're going to have some skulk in here to add some extra flavor. The gold is gold. And if you want to try a different mine, substitute the blocks out for their other variations. Say a diamond mine, diamond ore, and diamond blocks. Then some tents using white wool and dark oak fences. Get yourself a nice flat wall to build this into. If you don't have a flat wall, then I'd recommend digging into a hill or potentially trying to terraform yourself something, although that might be pretty difficult. Then go into the wall, start excavating a 3x3. Start making this into a normal standard generation mine shaft. And if you have one pre-existing, you can use that as a basis to build this. With two very simple support columns copied from the mine shaft, we have ourselves the beginning. And, well, this is barely anything. But it's very important to get this down, since if we have the beginning, then it's much easier to add on to the exterior, since we don't want to accidentally cover the actual hole we're going to make. Anyways, your task is to build a structure to hold gold, think like a bridge bastion. That way you can have some raw gold, gold ore, or whatever ore you want in here. And then, down here, we want to have ourselves something to go to ground level if your mine is not at ground level. Mine's elevated, which means we need a way for mine carts to get down to a proper processing facility. This is simple, where you add blocks like this, and on the underside we'll add stairs, which makes this a very simple process, like that. Once that is finished, add yourself some normal rails, since gravity will do the work for us, and add a proper stop down here. We'll add the rest of the accompanying structures later. With our two gold piles, separate designs, but I'd advise adding more than one, and our minecart track with some nice supports here, it's now time to build the main building. And this can come in many different forms, whether it be a traditional Wild Western house or something larger. This one is going to be pretty simple, and I'm going to use a simple blueprint for it. It's going to be 3 stories tall, a balcony right here, and 2 segments thick. Each segment I like to divide into 3 blocks like that, and when you're done, you should have quite a bit of room here. This will provide enough for an office and an equipping room. That way, it connects up eventually somewhere, likely around here, so try connecting it into your minecart track, and then you can go straight into the mine, which we'll work on soon. Now, we have ourselves this building, and quite a bit of a jump cut, but essentially, we only want to make a couple of small things come together into one big thing. First off, we have the same wall design, and on the inside, not fully completed, we have some staircases that go up. The floors are spruce, walls are spruce, and the ceiling ends up being more spruce, with dark oak added into it. I recommend adding a different block on intersections rather than using more logs, but that's up to you. From here, what you want to do is add some accents on the outsides. Over here you can see a lot of stairs. They're alternating between right side up and upside down, connecting here. And anytime we don't have a wall, we replace it with cobbled deep slate. Pretty simple enough. From here, what you want to do is add a connecting line across here add some more upside down stairs, and then try adding yourself a roof. This can be a little difficult, but you want to alternate between these two, and then once you reach the middle, then you add a dark oak slab and go all the way back down. Now we have ourselves the completed building on the exterior only, and it looks pretty nice. We have the dark oak in. Small parts have been missed because, human error. But anyways, what we want to do is fill up the interior with a couple of small things. One, somewhere with a small task board, does not need to be descript at all. A desk somewhere, boss's desk. Support beams going across the top using copper. Preferably exposed copper, waxed. And then make sure that there's some entrance near the minecart track itself, whether it be on the top or bottom. Then find a place to place down some iron pickaxes and the like, and then you'll have a completed interior. Now we have ourselves the completed interior. On the floors, we have ourselves some stairs in order to give the illusion that it's damaged. You can also do the same for the ceiling, but that's down to personal choice, so I've not done too much of it. We have the armory here, of course, obligatory spiral staircase where you use alternating full blocks and slabs in order to get yourself a weird effect. And of course, this is probably an OSHA violation, but this is the Wild West. OSHA isn't here right now. So with that aside, it's now time to work on the mine itself. With your rail here, what you want to do is start digging down. And pretend this is any old mineshaft generation, where you have this, and you keep digging down until you get to a flat point, and make sure that flat point is well within the stone layer. If it's within terracotta, then any gold ore will not look very good, so beware of that. Now we have ourselves a little bit of a mine shaft. If you find a naturally generating cave, ignore any entrances going out unless they are incredibly obvious. Say it's a completely open air place, then maybe it's not the best choice, but since this is decently secluded, it's okay. From here, see how big the cave is. If there is not a cave, then dig out a cave yourself. I know, it's going to be annoying. And then, 1. Get rid of all the ores in the cave except gold ore, or whatever mine you're trying to make if you're here for a general mine tutorial. Then, if there are any annoying passages, seal them off completely. But, of course, light them up in order to prevent massive amounts of mobs showing up. Then, keep examining the caves. Do you see any connecting caves? If you're in creative mode. If you're in survival, then, not exactly possible. Sometimes you'll find a massive cave like this one. However, this is of course way too far away. Don't overextend your mine and go into random areas. Secondly, don't extend into the deep dark if you're down there for some reason. Make sure you end up building your own deep dark if you want that, or at least to make sure there's no shriekers. And once you get rid of all the fancy stones and leave just the gold, then it'll start looking a bit more like a gold mine. From here, you can now extend the rail into it. With gold littering the area, you can see how much it adds to the build. Over in this area, I have included a lot of gold, and it's surprisingly not that hard to get, since the value of gold has been massively devalued since 1.16, and 1.18 has made gold ore ridiculously common, which means there shouldn't be many troubles in getting this much gold, unless you're in the deep slate layer. But anyways, you can see this part here, I didn't include any gold, and unsurprisingly, it doesn't look as good. Along with that, add some supports. Using various dark oak blocks, add some things that keep structural stability in this cave, whether it be going up to the ceiling and thickening on your way up. If there's any exposed parts like that, then make sure to replace them with dark oak. Light up all areas, make sure no aquifers are going to leak into here, etc. Once all that is done, then add some decor. Perhaps some pickaxes on item frames, or even a TNT cart. And here's how you do it. First, place down some dark oak or anything for that matter, a couple of candles, and if you really want to be silly, then you can light them. And that's only if you're going to light them. Replace all of this with TNT. You can see TNT pile, and if you want some of them to be lit, you don't accidentally risk blowing up the entire place. Here we have a TNT pile with a precariously placed candle, one right click away from doom. Still, we also have some other details such as a barrel pile, very simple over there, and a cave-in, which is merely a pile of cobblestone stairs. And you can see, it looks like a cave-in, like this part of the mine got shut down due to some rocks falling on it, which is all nice. And then, down here, naturally generating gold, we're going to have a little bit of deep dark. And, of course, it's dark down here. So I'm going to bring torches with me for the sake of demonstration. And once you get decently far down, what you want to do is place a couple TNT. Of course, if you're near an aquifer, like this cave-in over here, I made because there's an aquifer in the way, you're going to have to relocate. But if you have room, then place down a couple TNT, stand back, and then you'll get yourself a decently sized area. Inside this decently sized area, smooth it a little, place down a skulk catalyst, and then either 1, add some skulk, or 2, make some skulk. Either method works. Potentially some annoying mobs are in the area, or you could leave this unlit for the sake of demonstration. This will be pretty easy, and you can see we have ourselves a nice spread area. Kill a couple enemies down here, and then we'll have some skulk in order to make this place nice and ominous. With a bunch of blazes down here, we now have ourselves a little skulk pit. Nice, ominous, fitting for a gold mine where working conditions might be a little dubious, especially with this TNT pile, so the deep dark fits in perfectly here. Of course, this is still optional. If you're creeped out by it, don't want to go to a deep dark, that's completely okay. And that means we're back on the surface to include our final details. We need a couple of tents and a pile of logs, but of course that's secondary. Well, I'm going to do the logs first. Get yourself some dark oak stripped logs and place them randomly in a pile of 4. We can see this looks like one stem, and then we'll do another one a little further out, a little sucked in on this part, and then over here. Now we have ourselves another. Add a 4th one on top, and then this pile is complete once you add yourself some rails. For the tents, take a look at what the pillagers do, and you can copy it pretty easily. You need 5 lines with some dark oak fences in the middle. Of course, that doesn't allow you to get in, so you might need to make it a bit taller. I will build a few in order to get the idea across. Over here, we have ourselves simple tents, and you can see they look remarkably similar to pillager tents. We have the wool going up from the top to the bottom with 2 fences in between. And you can see you can walk through, and we have some wool on the inside under non-walkable parts to make it look like someone had to stake this into the ground rather than us placing wool on top of the sand. From here, add some random things such as beds and cauldrons, maybe even an item frame or 2, but since I have an armory, I'm not going to do that. Then, add yourself a very small campsite. Since we already have tents, we can place down some logs, some cobblestone slabs with 3 campfires, one of which will have a hay bale under it in order to make it go higher and turn this into a semi-cozy campsite, which means this gold mine is complete. Our major building for various business negotiations and preparing people. And then we have the mine itself, which, although a little small, still effectively shows what this build is meant to be, a gold mine. We have gold everywhere, barrels, TNT, some skulk, and a cave-in, which makes this quite an interesting build. And if you live near a mesa, try this out. Even if it serves 0 purpose and kinda wastes some gold, still, it's a testament to what you can do in the Badlands, despite the lack of wood and other limiting factors. Still, you can do a lot in the Badlands, more than you think you could be able to. And with that, it's the end of today's video. If you enjoyed this video, remember, please like and subscribe. It really helps me out. Either way, enjoy the rest of your day. Gearsaw out.